how I outsmarted my family's plot to steal my $900,000 inheritance. Hey, I'm Aiden, 32 years old, and my family always thought I was the quiet guy who'd just go along with whatever. I used to be like that, kinda. But when my grandparents died and left me their whole estate house, money, and stocks worth almost $900,000, something in me changed. I started paying attention, listening better, and making plans, 'cause I knew my family too well. My brother Tyler, 3 years younger, is loud, charming, and can lie so smoothly you'd lend him $5,000 for a great deal. He's pulled stuff forever, like using Mom's credit cards or borrowing a car that disappeared. Mom always bailed him out, saying he was just figuring life out. But me, I was always the responsible one, the backup, the safety net. And I was done with that role. When Grandpa died 2 years ago, a year after Grandma, he left everything to me. I wasn't shocked. I took care of them when no one else bothered, drove them to doctors, got their groceries, handled their paperwork. Tyler, he'd show up on Christmas, snap some Instagram pics, and vanish till the next holiday. But when the will was read and only my name was on it, Mom gave me this disappointed look, like I stole something. That's when I knew trouble was coming. The house was the big villa, beautiful old Victorian with red bricks, tall windows, and ivy climbing up like in a movie. It's been in our family for 3 generations, kept perfect by my grandparents. The neighborhood's gotten super pricey lately. Every house nearby got redone and sold, but my grandparents never sold, and now it was mine. I didn't move in right away. I stayed in my apartment across town and quietly got things in order. I had the house checked for its value, talked to a lawyer, and set up a trust, not just for the house, but for everything. I didn't tell Tyler, Mom, or anyone. I kept the original deed safe and put the house, title, money, everything into a trust with me in charge. I even put the utilities under a business name tied to the trust. It cost extra, but I didn't care. I knew my family would try something. For a bit, things were calm to calm. Tyler texted a few times, asking to use the pool. There's no pool. Mom kept hinting it wasn't fair for one person to get everything. She even said, "Your brother was always Grandpa's favorite," like that meant something. I just nodded and changed the topic. I didn't argue or correct them. I let them think I wasn't prepared. Things got real last month. Tyler started posting vague stuff on social media, like big things coming and new chapter soon. Then one Saturday, I was at the house doing yard work, just keeping the lawn nice, when Mom's car pulled up. Tyler jumped out, grinning, with sunglasses on like he was a movie star. Mom followed, holding a clipboard, smiling like she was about to open a new store. "Hey man," Tyler said, slapping my shoulder. "We've got news." I raised an eyebrow. Mom stepped up. "We talked to a lawyer. The house should have gone to both of you. Grandpa messed up not updating the will after Grandma died. But don't worry, we fixed it." I stared at her. "Fixed what?" Tyler waved a paper from his pocket. "We got the house title switched to my name. It's done. You gotta be out by Friday, but no big deal, right? We'll let you grab your stuff." I looked at them, their smug faces, so sure of themselves. My heart didn't race. I wasn't scared. I almost laughed because they thought I was that dumb. I gave a small smile, the kind that makes people nervous. "You really think I'd let that happen?" Tyler laughed like I was joking. "It's already done, dude. You're living in a dream world." Mom softened her voice, like that'd help. "We're not being mean, Aiden. It's just smart. Tyler can handle the property, maybe sell it. You've got your own place. This way, everyone's happy." I didn't argue. I just nodded and said, "Got it." 2 days later, they showed up again with a moving truck and 2 movers. I was ready. They pulled into the driveway, laughing and yelling like they owned the place. Tyler was sipping coffee in the passenger seat, and Mom was telling the movers where to go. But then they saw me on the porch, arms crossed, next to a tall guy in a suit. He held a thick folder and had a badge on his belt. The folder had my trust's name on it, one they didn't know. The badge was real. The suit was real. The guy was from the county property office. They stopped dead. Tyler got out, confused. "What's going on?" I didn't speak. The suit guy did. He cleared his throat, super calm. "Are you Tyler Green?" he asked. Tyler frowned. "Yeah, who's asking?" The guy stepped forward. "I'm from the county property office. I'm here for the legal trustee of the East Thornhill estate. That's this house." He pointed behind him. "I've got papers showing the deed's been in a trust since last April. managed by Aidan Green. Any claims about owning the property since then, including a fake title transfer, are not just wrong but against the law. Tyler's face went pale. Fake, he mumbled, looking at Mom. What's he talking about? Mom stepped up, lips tight. There's a mistake. We saw the old deed. It was in Grandpa's name. We thought you thought wrong, I said, finally speaking. I never left the property in my name. It's in a trust. That's why you couldn't find it in public records. You used some shady company to fake a transfer with an old document. The suit guy nodded. I've filed a fraud report on the fake title claim. Normally, we'd warn first, but showing up with movers, threatening to kick out the legal trustee, we're going straight to enforcement. Tyler blinked. Enforcement. I turned to him.com. It means if you step foot in this house without my okay, you're trespassing. If you mess with the trust or its stuff, you're facing charges, lots of them. No one spoke for a second. The movers stood there, looking awkward, like they'd walked into a family fight. One coughed and backed toward the truck. Tyler finally spoke. You're doing this to family. My voice stayed calm. To calm. Family. You brought a fake title and movers to steal my home. The one thing Grandpa and Grandma wanted me to have. Don't talk about family. Mom's jaw tightened. They were confused, Aidan. They didn't understand. No, I snapped. You didn't understand. You thought I was still the pushover from when I was 20, the kid you could guilt into fixing Tyler's messes or lending money. I'm not that kid anymore. I learned, I listened, I prepared. The suit guy flipped through his folder. Also, we've told the local police. If you come back claiming the property, they've got a file ready, civil and criminal. Tyler's eyes flashed, but he stayed quiet. He turned to the movers and snapped, We're leaving. He didn't look at me. Mom paused, like she wanted to say something, maybe try one last trick, but she didn't. She followed him. The truck drove off, and I watched its lights fade down the hill. It was quiet again, that heavy quiet after a big fight. The suit guy gave me a copy of the fraud report and said, Call, if they come back. I thanked him, and after he left, I stood on the porch where I used to sit with Grandpa. He'd talk about knowing people, not just their words, but what they do when they think you're not looking. He said, don't judge people by what they say right then. Judge them by what they do when they think no one's watching. He was right. I'd watched, and I'd acted, but it wasn't over. 3 days later, I got a letter from a lawyer, not Mom's usual one. It said she was upset and had a family right to part of the estate. She wanted $150,000, half the house, and monthly money forever. I stared at the paper, numb at first, then mad. My own mom put her name on a legal letter, trying to charge me for not letting her and Tyler take what was mine. It wasn't about the money, it was the nerve, calling it a misunderstanding one day, then demanding $150,000 the next, like we were strangers in a business deal. The words familial obligations stuck in my head, like I owed them everything, and they owed me nothing. I didn't answer right away. I knew not to act mad. I called the suit guy, who got me to Sonia Cruz, a sharp lawyer in her 40s, quiet but super focused. I gave her everything: trust papers, Mom's letter, Tyler's social media posts about his next chapter. In a day, Sonia sent a strong letter to Mom and Tyler, saying the trust was untouchable and they had no case, but she dug deeper. She found Tyler had faked signatures for the title transfer, even used a fake notary stamp, and filed it through a sketchy out-of-state company, thinking our county wouldn't notice. Sonia told the fraud investigator at the DA's office, who was already looking at that company for other fake filings. Tyler was now an easy target for them. I didn't tell them I knew. If they wanted to keep pushing, I'd let them make it worse, and they did. 2 weeks after Sonia's letter, I got another one from Mom, not through a lawyer, just her words, full of guilt trips like, after all I've done for you and I raised you better than this. She ended with, you can stop this by doing the right thing. Family shouldn't need lawyers. I didn't reply. Sonia said not to. I sent her the letter, and she added it to our file, in case we needed a restraining order later. Then, one morning, I found a note in my mailbox, stuffed in the handle like a prank. I knew Tyler's handwriting right away. It said, hope you're enjoying playing King of the Castle. Remember who's got your back when the money's gone. I laughed, a quiet, tired laugh, realizing he didn't know I'd outgrown him. I scanned the note and added it to the file, but I decided I was done just defending. I'd push back. Tyler was already in trouble for fraud, but Sonia said if we could prove he was harassing me on purpose, we could make it worse. And he could lose more than a court case's credit, his job, his reputation. He'd just started at a fancy real estate firm, the kind that brags about being honest. I wondered if they'd like knowing he tried to steal a house with fake papers. I didn't act fast. I waited. Then something weird happened. My cousin Megan, who I hadn't talked to in years, messaged me on Facebook. Hey, can we talk? Your mom's saying stuff to the family. We met for coffee. Megan's always been straight up, and she hadn't changed. She showed me texts, voicemails, even a group chat with other cousins. Mom was telling everyone I tricked Grandpa into changing his will when he was sick, saying I took advantage of him. It wasn't about the house or money anymore, it was about control. Mom couldn't stand that I'd said no, that I'd protected what was mine. She wanted to ruin my name so I'd give in. Megan looked at me and said, I don't believe her. Neither do Jaime or Chris. But she's not stopping. She's calling everyone. I nodded, my heart racing. Thanks for telling me. I didn't sleep much that night. I realized if she'd lie to the whole family to pressure me, I had to end this not just for me, but so they couldn't do this to anyone else. What I did next, it wasn't just lawyers. I spent 2 days planning in my study. The trust was safe legally, but Mom's lies were spreading fast. Megan's warning came just in time, but the damage was growing. I got texts from far-off relatives, like, just checking in, or heard stuff, hope it's not true. Mom was trying to turn everyone against me, to guilt me into giving up for peace. I saw the trap and decided to set my own. Sonia helped me make a clear statement with all the proof: the fake title, the forged stamp, the letters, the movers, the lies. I included Megan's texts, Mom's voicemails calling me greedy, and the lawyer's $150,000 demand. I didn't just keep it in court. I sent a simple version to every relative Mom contacted. I wrote, hey, I know stuff's been said. Before you judge, here's the truth with proof. Read it. After this, I'm done talking about it. Believe me, or don't. But you've got the facts. I sent it to 27 people. The response was quick. 5 relatives replied in hours, most sorry, some shocked. My Aunt Robin, who always loved Tyler, called crying. She'd believed Mom until she saw the fake title and letters. I didn't know, Aiden, I'm so sorry, she said. I didn't want apologies. I just said I hoped she got why I did this. And he could lose more than a court case's credit, his job, his reputation. He'd just started at a fancy real estate firm, the kind that brags about being honest. I wondered if they'd like knowing he tried to steal a house with fake papers. I didn't act fast. I waited. Then something weird happened. My cousin Megan, who I hadn't talked to in years, messaged me on Facebook. Hey, can we talk? Your mom's saying stuff to the family. We met for coffee. Megan's always been straight up, and she hadn't changed. She showed me texts, voicemails, even a group chat with other cousins. Mom was telling everyone I tricked Grandpa into changing his will when he was sick, saying I took advantage of him. It wasn't about the house or money anymore, it was about control. Mom couldn't stand that I'd said no, that I'd protected what was mine. She wanted to ruin my name so I'd give in. Megan looked at me and said, I don't believe her. Neither do Jaime or Chris. But she's not stopping. She's calling everyone. I nodded, my heart racing. Thanks for telling me. I didn't sleep much that night. I realized if she'd lie to the whole family to pressure me, I had to end this not just for me, but so they couldn't do this to anyone else. What I did next, it wasn't just lawyers. I spent 2 days planning in my study. The trust was safe legally, but Mom's lies were spreading fast. Megan's warning came just in time, but the damage was growing. I got texts from far-off relatives, like, just checking in, or heard stuff, hope it's not true. Mom was trying to turn everyone against me, to guilt me into giving up for peace. I saw the trap and decided to set my own. Sonia helped me make a clear statement with all the proof: the fake title, the forged stamp, the letters, the movers, the lies. I included Megan's texts, Mom's voicemails calling me greedy, and the lawyer's $150,000 demand. I didn't just keep it in court. I sent a simple version to every relative Mom contacted. I wrote, hey, I know stuff's been said. Before you judge, here's the truth with proof. Read it. After this, I'm done talking about it. Believe me, or don't. But you've got the facts. I sent it to 27 people. The response was quick. 5 relatives replied in hours, most sorry, some shocked. My Aunt Robin, who always loved Tyler, called crying. She'd believed Mom until she saw the fake title and letters. I didn't know, Aiden, I'm so sorry, she said. I didn't want apologies. I just said I hoped she got why I did this. Not everyone agreed. 3 relatives on Mom's side said I was twisting the story. One even said I faked the papers. I knew I couldn't convince everyone. But for every doubter, 5 others said, thanks for the truth. Then came the big move. I sent an anonymous tip to Tyler's boss. Not just a note, but a full report with the fake title, the forged papers, and how he used their company's name. I thought it'd take a week. It took 2 days. Tyler's name was off their website by Friday. A college friend in real estate told me the firm started an audit right away and found other issues in Tyler's files. He wasn't just fired, they reported him to the state board. His real estate license was frozen for investigation. He tried calling me 11 times that day. I didn't pick up. That weekend, he posted on Instagram a black screen saying, some people ruin your life and act like the victim. He didn't name me, but everyone who mattered knew the truth. But it wasn't done. 2 days later, I got a county notice. They issued a warrant for Tyler for trying to fake the title and filing false papers. I stared at it, numb. I didn't want this. I didn't want to ruin him, but he forced it. And now he faced consequences. He was charged quietly, no big news, just a court date, a bad lawyer, and legal trouble. He probably won't go to jail, maybe probation, fines, or community service, but it'll stick with him. Jobs will be tough. Trust will be tougher. The next time he tries to play real estate hotshot, this will haunt him. Mom went quiet after the truth went out. No calls, no apologies, no more money demands. 2 months later, her lawyer sent a note saying she was dropping all claims and wanted no contact. She knew she'd lost. I didn't feel happy or proud. I felt free. That night, I walked through the Victorian, barefoot on the wood floors. It smelled like cedar and old books. The house was calm, mine. I stood in the den where Grandpa read his paper in his big chair and whispered. I kept it safe, like I promised. I think he'd be proud. In the end, I didn't just keep the house. I kept my pride, my future. Tyler lost his job. Mom lost her story. And I found something they didn't expect, the strength to stop being their doormat. For the first time, I wasn't the quiet one anymore. Story 2. Hey, I'm Adrian, 34, and I've always been the reliable guy, the one who fixes stuff, the quiet one keeping things together while everyone else makes a mess. My family teased I was born old, like I skipped being wild and went straight to grown-up stuff. I paid bills on time, bought my first car with cash, and never messed up a check. But lately, I've wondered if I should have been a bit wilder, 'cause the people I helped treated me like a store they could steal from. It started small, like little hurts you don't notice until they add up. A few years ago, when houses were cheap, I bought my parents' house. They couldn't pay the mortgage, and my sister Isla moved back in after quitting her job. She said she needed time for her art, but really, she drank wine at noon and posted yoga pics online. My parents were in trouble, so I quietly bought the house in my name, fixed the loan with my good credit, and set up automatic payments. They kept living there. Isla too. I didn't make a fuss. That's just me, the guy who handles things. I paid property taxes, cleared their old utility bills, and since Isla didn't have a car, I signed for her lease, thinking she'd get a job soon. Nope, she didn't. Still, I showed up for holidays, birthdays, family dinners, but things started changing. They stopped mentioning me when talking about the house. Mom would say, we've lived here 30 years, like I hadn't saved it from being sold off. Isla called it her future art studio. Dad joked about giving it to the next generation. Looking at Isla, it hurt, but I let it go. I always did. Then I got a text on a Tuesday morning, during a work meeting. It was a group message from Mom. We talked and decided you should stay away from the house. It belongs to Isla now. Hope you understand. That's it. No call, no explanation, no thank you for what I did. I stared at it, thinking it was a mean joke. Then, Isla texted, it's not personal, Adrian. You've been too bossy. I need space to grow. Space. Bossy. I hadn't been to the house in a month. I felt calm, not sad or mad, just clear. I replied, thanks for the clarity, turned off my phone, and went home early. That night, I made a list of everything I was paying for, everything I did out of love that they took for granted. Then I started crossing stuff off. First, the house payments stopped them. The bank would call them soon. Then the property taxes, which I paid through my account since the house was mine closed, that I left a message with the tax office to confirm. They were nice. I was nice back. Last was Ila's car, that white SUV she used. Ila tried flattery. You always fix things, Adrian. It's a misunderstanding. Can we talk? I didn't reply. Mom called again, left a voicemail. Adrian, this isn't you. You don't hold grudges. We thought you didn't want the house. Ila needs a place, and your dad and I are old. No apologies, just excuses. I stopped listening. A week later, I got a group email from my parents called Moving Forward. It was a messy letter saying they panicked when Ila threatened to leave, that they were stuck between two kids and had to decide fast. Then they said, the best thing now is for you to sign the house to Ila to avoid more fights. You'll still be welcome in our lives after we heal. Heal, I stared, jaw tight. It wasn't just clueless, it was sneaky, wanting me to sign off on their betrayal to make it neat for them. I sent the email to Evelyn. She called 5 minutes later. Want to go big? She asked calmly. I didn't think twice. Lighted up. That's when things really fell apart. They didn't know I didn't just own the house, I owned the land, the insurance, the title, the deed, all the papers, without their names. They were just living there, and I was done being their quiet hero, but I didn't tell them yet. I let the notices pile up, watched them panic. A neighbor said Ila was asking for loans. My uncle, one of the few I still talked to, called to check on me. I'm just giving them the distance they wanted, I said. The next weekend, I drove by the house, not to go in, just to look. A red foreclosure sign was on the door, and a U-Haul was parked crooked in the driveway. I saw them, my parents and Ila, carrying boxes, arguing. Ila was crying. Mom was yelling on the phone. Dad stood there, looking lost, staring at the house. They didn't see me, but I saw them. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the odd one out. I felt free. I started to drive off when a black Mercedes pulled up at the stop sign. The window rolled down, and a man in a suit said, Adrian. I blinked. Yeah, he smiled. You own 162 Briarwood, right? I do. We got your okay. I'll be there Monday with the development team. Congrats, you're gonna make a lot on this. My jaw tightened. I glanced back at the house, the family, the boxers, and said, great timing. Then, I drove off. Next morning, I woke up early. My apartment felt calm, like a heavy weight was gone. I made black coffee, stood by the window, and let myself feel it. Not joy, not revenge, just clarity. They gave me a clean break, and I took it. All I had to do was keep going. At 8 a.m., I met the development team. The Mercedes guy, Marcus Benton, was there, leaning on his car, checking a tablet. His assistant, a young guy with a clipboard and fancy shoes, nodded at me. You're early, Marcus said, smiling. I don't sleep when there's a chance to win, I said, shaking his hand. He laughed. You'll do great with us, Adrian. Once this rezoning happens, the whole street's changing. You're at the center. Prime land, new grants, city council's on board, ready for your first $1 million project. I didn't react, just looked at the house, their house, the one I saved, the one they said wasn't mine. Boxes were on the lawn. Ila's pink suitcase was by the steps. Dad's old boots were in the grass. The front window had a crack I never fixed. Funny how you stop caring about upkeep when people try to erase you. As we walked the property, Marcus took notes, snapping photos. That garage, he said, pointing, could be a guest suite or small office. A little space adds big value. I trust your plan, I said. I'd checked him out. Marcus wasn't a shady flipper. He built lasting stuff, featured in magazines, and made sure owners like me got paid well. Halfway through, I heard a loud voice. Adrian. I turned. Ila stood on the porch in messy pajamas and a dirty cardigan, clutching her phone, shielding her eyes from the sun. I knew it, she yelled, stomping barefoot toward us. You're selling the house? I didn't answer. She kept going. This is sick. You're sick. You were waiting to stab us in the back. Marcus looked at me, unsure. Do we need to? No, I said, raising a hand. It's fine. Ila turned to him. This is a family home. You can't destroy it. My mom lives here. Marcus stayed polite. Ma'am, the deed's verified. Adrian legally owns the home. All plans follow the rules. Don't give me your fancy talk, she snapped. I grew up here. It's our family. I said quietly. She looked at me, desperate. Adrian, please. You've made your point. You're mad, hurt, but don't do this. I stared at her. Remember when you told Mom and Dad I was just a wallet with legs? Her face froze. I wasn't supposed to hear, but I did. You laughed, said I'd never stop paying 'cause I was too weak to say no. That was a joke, she said. It was the truth you hid as a joke, and you all believed it until I stopped paying. She stepped closer. But we're family. No, I said, steady. We were family until you made it about money. Marcus called his team back to give us space. Ila's eyes teared up, real tears, not her usual fake ones, but I felt nothing. I gave everything, I said softly. Years, my credit, my patience. I gave you a home, a car, money, and you gave me a text kicking me out. Her lip shook, but she didn't speak. I nodded at the boxes. You should move those. Demolition starts next week. Her face broke. Where are we supposed to go? What about Mom and Dad? I shrugged. Ask the people who own the house. I walked back to Marcus. Didn't look back, but heard her crying. Part of me wanted to feel bad, but I didn't. I hadn't taken anything. I just stopped giving. Something better was coming from their mess. I didn't watch the demolition. Marcus offered to update me, but I said I didn't need details. I'd seen enough of that house and what it became. Instead, I booked a trip to a quiet cabin on the Oregon coast, with big windows and no cell service. I brought books I hadn't read, a sketchpad I used to draw on before work took over, and one bag of clothes. It took 2 days to relax. At first, I kept checking my phone, even though it didn't work. But soon, the stress left my shoulders. I slept well, ate slowly, wrote in my journal. By day 5, I didn't care about home, Isla, or my parents. If there was drama, they'd handle it. I wasn't their cleanup guy anymore. When I got back, a big envelope was in my mailbox. A county notice saying rezoning was approved, demolition done, and new permits ready. Marcus sent a letter with an offer, $1.3 million for the lot and development rights. They'd build 2 fancy townhomes, and I'd get 20% ownership without doing anything. I stared at the number. It wasn't just money, it was proof I was right. Next day, I met Marcus at a quiet rooftop restaurant. We signed the final papers, talked numbers and plans. When it was done, he raised his glass. 2 new beginnings. I clinked mine and said, and clean endings. But the real ending came 3 weeks later at my cousin Leah's wedding. I almost didn't go. Mom texted the invite, saying it was a family event and they hoped I'd come. I wasn't sure if it was a peace offer or a way to look good. I went for Leo. She was always kind, sent thank you cards, made sure I had a good seat. I wore a simple, navy suit, not flashy, but sharp. I got there just before the ceremony and sat in the back. My parents were up front, Isla next to them in a worn dress, hair in a messy braid, clutching her phone. They glanced at me when I walked in. Dad looked away fast. Mom stared, guilt and pride mixed on her face. She gave a small nod. I didn't nod back. At the reception, I stayed by the bar, skipped dancing, and chatted with cousins I hadn't seen in years. They'd heard bits of the story family gossip spreads, fast, but no one asked directly, just said stuff like, how's it going, or heard you've been busy. Near the end, Isla came over. No drama, just walking slowly, arms crossed, eyes tired. Hey, she said, standing a bit away, can we talk? I nodded and followed her to a quiet spot behind the hall. She paused, then said, I moved in with a friend. It's temporary. I waited. Mom and Dad are with Aunt Dee for now. She's not happy. Neither are her cats. I said nothing. I got a part-time job at a bookstore. Good, I said. She looked at me. I hated you for a while. Then I realized I hated myself. I didn't expect that. She swallowed. I was so used to you fixing stuff, money, the car, bills. You'd show up. No drama. I didn't think about it. I just expected it. I nodded. That's the problem. I know, she said, eyes wet. I'm sorry. The words lingered. I really am, she whispered. I looked at her, really looked. She was thinner, paler, but more real, not faking it for once. I hope the bookstore works out, I said. She nodded. It will. I'm trying. We stood there a bit. Then she said, you were right. The house didn't miss me. I smiled faintly. It didn't miss any of us. She turned to go, then stopped. Are we okay? I thought about it. We're better than we were, I said. That was true. Forgiving didn't mean going back. Sometimes it just meant letting go. As she walked away, I felt lighter, not fully, but enough. Later, as I headed to my car, someone called my name, Uncle Bruce, holding a drink, grinning. Is it true, you're behind the big Briarwood project? I raised an eyebrow. Who said that? Your mom. He laughed. She mentioned it at dinner. Sounded like bragging. I chuckled. Yeah, it's true. He whistled. Well, dang, you were always the quiet one. Guess you were building something after all. I shook his hand and drove off. On the way home, I didn't feel like I'd won. I felt complete. That part of my life, years of quiet sacrifices, helping without thanks, being their money machine, was done. They pushed me out, and that freed me to build my own life. And this time, my name was the only one on the deed.